Phil,
Yes.
we did not get, or I'm sorry, Phil Barnhart.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I did not get the minutes out in time, so we'll just go ahead and pass over that and we'll vote on them at the next meeting.
Okay, I was wondering about that. I was looking for them.
Yes,
Good.
no, I realized that they didn't go out in time and I don't think there'll be enough time for people to review them. So
Yeah.
we'll just do it at the next meeting.
Okay. Now you've allowed me 5 to 10 minutes.
You can take whatever you want, and I'm okay if we end early. I won't be upset at all.
Me too.
It is I know that the president often attends. Is she planning to attend tonight, or do you know?
I believe she's been invited. I'm not sure if she's able to attend or not, but
well, if she comes, she may use part of my time.
Okay,
that's easy. Perfect. Okay, yes. And now what? The question I had for you is, what's a quorum tonight? How many people?
I think it's 7.
So we have 15 members?
Yes, but I don't know that we're actually voting on anything. So I think we're okay if we don't have a quorum.
Gotcha. All right. So we'll hold the meeting as a report meeting regardless. And if we have a quorum, we'll open a regular meeting.
That would work.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, by my watch, about 3 minutes. Before the meeting officially is ready to start anyway. Is that a reasonable statement at this point?
I believe so. I believe we should start right at 6 o'clock.
At 6. Okay, great. Thank you.
5:57. Oh, just turned to 5:58.
Got it.
Okay. Tom wants to go home early.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're already home, Amy.
I am, but it's messing with my camera, so.
Oh, yeah. I don't have mine on. Let's turn it on.
Hey, hi, Phil. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm keeping my head above water. It's a
yeah, good. I'm very pleased. Your job is always one of the more hectic ones, as long as there's workers on campus, construction workers.
Yeah, well, even when they're not here, it seems hectic.
I just realized that was a dumb statement. Yes, you're busy all the time. Yeah, well, here comes some more.
I've got a couple more years of this. Yes.
And remind me, this is a public meeting, is it not? And we may have others.
Technically, yes.
There may be others in attendance, but not actually showing on my screen.
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now here comes some more. Oh, Wendy, hello, Kyle. Oh, Clara, Bill, let's see. Jennifer.
I see that it's 6 o'clock, so.
All right, well, let's get underway then.
Let's go live first.
Oh yeah, you go live and then you tell me when you're ready.
Video services, let us know when you're live. And
we are live.
Well, that was easy.
That was easy, great. So thank you so much. This is Phil Barnhart, the chair of the Lane Community College Bond Oversight Committee. It is April 28th, 2025 at 6 p.m. And we're going live with our meeting and consider this the call to order. I've been informed that the minutes are not, of the last meeting are not ready. So we will put that over to the next meeting. And I know that the president has been invited to this meeting. Don't see her here yet. So if she wants to tell us something, she may interrupt us later, but we'll go ahead. Go ahead. Is there anything else before we go into the design and construction updates? And thank you all for coming tonight. We have a quorum, I note. Thank you, everyone. All righty. Good Hugh and Hayward, you're on for new and upcoming projects.
I'm afraid that's me mostly. Jennifer's here to back me up, but where we're going right now, we are starting projects to relocate public safety out of Building 12. For those of you who have been around this piece for a while, public safety has been moved to. Am I getting a feedback somewhere? I'm hearing.
I'm not hearing it. It may bug you, but I bet the rest of us aren't hearing it.
I'm hearing it.
Oh, you are? Okay.
All right. Well, I'll try.
Bill,
You probably have two microphones going somehow.
hey, Bill,
Don't know.
you need to mute yours.
If there's another microphone in the same room, that would explain why.
I don't have another one. I wonder if
Maybe
Bill
someone else.
and Phil, why don't you mute? It might be feedback there, but so anyhow, I will go. Bill Hirsch, if you could mute your mic maybe, or does it sound good now? I'm doing good. New and upcoming projects. As I was saying, public safety, to relocate them out of Building 12. For those of you that have been with me since earlier on, Building 12 is slated to be what was looked at to house what is now ITech, which is more or less complete. We found structural problems with that building, so there's a significant amount of that building that we hope to remove to solve the structural problems. Was the easy solution. Public safety is the last occupant in that building. We have made the determination to move them to Building 15. So at this point, we have hired an architect and we're getting started on the design process for that. Couple of other projects that tie in with that are an access, widening the access road that goes down to Building 15 from Eldon Schaefer and on down to the service area of the center building. That is it's really more or less a one-lane road. It's used as a two-way road here on campus, but it was originally built and designed as a one-way bus lane through the heart of campus there. We're going to be widening that out as well as doing some dedicated secure parking for public safety down by Building 15 because they have a need for secure areas for their police vehicles and other things down there. That's on the more or less towards the east side of Building 15 for those of you who know the campus. On the west side of Building 15, we have another situation where we have a series of raised platforms that used to wrap all the way around center building. We have there's some pretty significant structural concerns and particularly seismic concerns with this, what is more or less a parking garage type construction back from the 60s. Building 15 uses the raised platform, which is more of a plaza, as part of the egress route. So from the building, so we want to make sure we can address that seismic one. So if we get a seismic activity, it doesn't damage Building 15, which our public safety is in, but also we want to make sure we have the right egress out of Building 15. So that group of projects is all kind of melded together into one. And as soon as we can get public safety out or into Building 15, the goal is then to work on tearing down Building 12, other than the central heating plant. So that's my big thing that's a new project, shall we say. Terry, I see your hand.
Yeah, I just want to know, maybe I've forgotten, but what's going to happen to Building 12 after it's demolished? What will either something else go in there or what's it going to be used for?
The area that we're tearing down is for the time being, we're looking at it as a service yard for the operations group, to be honest. We have a lot of storage needs, a lot of vehicles, oversized vehicles that we have for our diesel program and those kind of things. And the intent is to get that to be a semi-secure yard, so that can be in there. One of the other things that space does is it allow a large turnaround space for fire trucks to get in closer to the center of campus, which they can't right now. So our fire marshal is very kind, but appreciative whenever we can do something to make their access a little closer with, often put it, when this campus was designed back in the mid-60s, fire trucks were a lot smaller. Just about everything was a lot smaller. So we're doing upgrades for that. Does that help you out, Terry? Okay.
Yeah, I just was wanting to know, is it going to be left blank? Are you going to blacktop it, gravel, put a fence around it?
Probably gravel, hopefully blacktop and a fence, but those are things that we're running out of money, believe it or not, with this bond that we're getting allocated. So those are some things, because it's one of the last major projects, that will be some things we're looking at. The way we have structured the documents and the building permits, those are various alternates that we are taking a look at as we get closer to the end. So hopefully that helps out there. Let's see what else. Jennifer, what am I missing for upcoming projects? I'm trying to remember besides that big group. Guess we have a series of smaller projects that we'll get to soon. There are a couple of things that
We
have
can talk
been
about the
talked about.
fire panel.
Oh, fire panel upgrades. Yeah, that's one that is going to be a fairly significant problem. We have a centralized fire panel system that is also a mass notification system that broadcasts campus-wide to all of the buildings. Fire panels that were installed 15 to 20 years ago are now obsolete, very hard to get parts for, and also don't necessarily address all the code requirements we have right now. So that is something we're just starting to look at. We've had some preliminary stuff planning. We're working with our consultant who does that, but we're actually going to start to implement that and kind of pick off the buildings one by one over the next couple of years and see how far we can get. Again, electronics equipment and fire panels aren't cheap. And we want to make sure we're safe, but we also have to make sure we balance things out. So we're looking at that, tackling our priorities are the major campus, the classroom buildings in particular, those with large occupancies, so that we can communicate out to people. It ties in really well with public safety relocation as well, because that whole public safety relocation will give us a chance to update a lot of our emergency response communications, our access control software, all of those things, our camera programs, which we've done some upgrades on through the bond already, but we've always known that we were going to do this public safety relocation, and I hated to invest a whole lot into Building 12 when I knew that was going to go away. So that's a group of things. What else, Jennifer?
I think you covered it.
Okay, I check with the boss, you know. Current construction projects. We got a little project going on over at the science building to upgrade all the labs. I say a little project, but it is the most complex project that this bond has taken on and hopefully will take on. It is science labs, so that has a technical respect where we're trying to upgrade fume hoods, get ventilation up to speed, because it's chemistry and biology labs, those kind of things. The other part there is they still want to hold classes in the building while we're remodeling it, which makes it that much harder. We have guaranteed that they would have one of each type of lab available throughout the construction. So we have one science lab or one chemistry lab, one biology lab, one geology lab open. What it does for a logistics plan is every term for the next roughly 2 years, we will shuffle people around in that building a bit, opening up new areas as we complete some construction and renovation, as well as and close down other things. The other aspect we're going to do is seismic upgrades to that building. So that's a big part that there was some minor seismic upgrades when they added to it, but we're going to do some more. One of the big parts of that is to isolate it. This summer, we'll be isolating that building from building 15 because those two buildings are connected with these big precast channel structures that hold up the roofs. So seismic control doesn't like that. We don't want to push on one building from the other. So that'll address problems on both 16 and 15. So any questions on that part of the world? Oh, this is too easy. Oh, thanks,
I'll
Wendy.
ask a question. So,
Yeah.
but they have to have some of the labs open for classes. I mean, I don't see how, unless you could do more work in the summer, right? So there's not really a way around that, correct?
Yeah, no, we tried. That's why I said we found a way to keep one of each types of lab open throughout the construction period so that part of it is that students, that they're lab classrooms, and there are students that need these labs to get their degree, and in a process, and there's not a whole lot of choice for our people in EMS or some of these other programs that, they have a very limited opportunity to get in there. So that's why we committed to holding open a lab for each of them. It does mean that some classes will have to shift around because you have a entry-level chemistry and an organic chemistry, which used to be offered at the same time, and now they have to be offered at a different time. And there's a little bit more work because they have to change over the classroom setup a little bit for these. Same thing for other labs, but that's been the most challenging one because chemistry, you have to have a lot of controls on, even for our elementary chemistry.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you're working around that because it's true. The students need all that. So
Yeah.
I know it's complex, but I'm glad you're working with it.
We spent the last year trying to figure out how to do it. Getting in there and figuring out what's going on. We did start that project over spring break. There's been a few bugs to work out as we got in there, and construction is noisy. There's no way in an old building, an old precast building to avoid that. And we're trying to deal as best we can with the sound and vibration impacts, trying to communicate it out. We started closing off some hallways, and of course, students got lost. So our communication plan will be upped a little bit more next time, but it's a learning curve. It's always a challenge, but that's why I love construction,
Good. Other questions? Oh, yeah, we have a hand. Yes, go.
Hi there, Tom. This is Alan over here. I just want to add an observation, listening to you and watching your face while you describe Building 16. I've got a number of people I used to know one way or another over there in that building. One of them used to be on our school board. And all I can say is I really appreciate that you're managing it as well as you are managing it, because you got half-timers out there who are under a lot of stress because they can't fit in the same patterns as the rest of them can. And you're doing necessary work under extraordinary circumstances. I just wanted to say I appreciate that. That's all.
Oh, thank you. It's a unique challenge. It's but we're getting there. I have to give a lot of kudos to staff and faculty, while they don't always like it, they're doing pretty well to adjust. We've done some things where we're holding some classrooms available for emergencies, just in case that noise gets too much for a class. They show up and there's a known spot that they can get to on the other side of the building that will be a little less because things happen, you know? And it's really expensive to stop construction while a class is going on, and people have kind of appreciated that too. So thanks, Bill, or Alan. That was Alan. I see different corners.
Yes, it was. If I could comment as well, it seems to me that I have two comments really. The first one is getting public safety out of a building that has construction issues or stability issues could be important if the big earthquake comes along. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And my second observation is that the beginning chemistry class probably needs more oversight and safety management than people who are taking the more advanced courses.
Yeah, I think that's a safe, and that's one of the things that, you know, that for those of you that have ever been in those chemistry rooms, they don't look any better than when you were there however many decades ago. Um, they're pretty much original to the 1960s fume hoods that are probably older than some people on this call or this meeting, but certainly go back to the original and are well past due. And getting ventilation overall in the building is just a huge upgrade. So that's great. As far as ongoing projects, you know, fortunately, we had a really wonderful ceremony to open iTech with the open house. That's been occupied for a while. We are working through some final closeout issues. I shouldn't say issues, details, really, as well as trying to go through, do financial closeout on that project. All's going pretty well. We've had, we're on our second term in there with users, so getting used to it, working out some of the kinks, all of that stuff. Health professions is going along as well. That one's open, and I think most people know that when we tried to open that building in the fall, we had a little problem with a water line on the third floor that broke and flooded half the building a week before we were ready. Well, a week before we were ready to occupy it after we'd moved a lot of things in. I'm pleased to say that that work is all taken care of. It went really quite smoothly. Was talking to the dean, Corey Minor, over there on Saturday, and he says, you know, they're finally, again, it's been a soft opening for them, but they're really excited to see, they feel really comfortable setting up for next year, which is where they're at in their planning on how to do things. On the plus side, both of those programs, Corey is saying they're getting a lot more people interested in it. Over at iTech, I was told their programs have almost doubled in the last 2 years. So that's even before we opened the building. They're complaining that the building's not large enough yet anymore. So you know, what can I say? But it's really, if you haven't visited it, if you're ever in the neighborhood, take a walk through it. Both of these buildings are really fabulous additions to the campus. People keep telling me that, at least. So
I really appreciate the walkthrough that we had a few weeks ago. It was fantastic, and I have to say, Bill, what you said about occupancy doesn't surprise me at all. It's fantastic. The building appears absolutely fantastic and wonderful, and I have personally talked it up to several very young people because, and I think my enthusiasm may actually have increased your occupancy.
good job. And I think one of the great things about this is it's really the whole process of designing iTech and the outreach that we did has really brought the area industry to be more engaged with the school. We did a lot of outreach early on about what they needed for trades education. There's a lot more interest in what's going on in trades education here. And from what I'm hearing, a lot more both industry people and donors that are interested in how do we partner? How do we, where can we help you and how can you help us? So, as an architect and designer, that's huge to hear those types of things that when you build something and you know, the old field of dreams, if you build it, they will come. And they, that is, seems to be happening already. So that's a big, big fun one. Projects in closeout.
Before you go on, are there any questions on these topics? Yeah, go ahead, Bill. Tom, excuse me, Tom.
Oh, I know a project I forgot to mention. We forgot baseball.
Well,
We got a baseball field coming in out here. I knew I'd forget something today. We got approved by the board last month. We've got that old baseball field stripped off, and we're getting ready to. We've got it regraded, getting ready to do the rest of the drainage infrastructure. And by the end of August, we should have a new baseball field out there in time for our baseball team to start practice for their fall season. So that really is that's a pretty big, how I forgot that one, other than it's just been one of those that's moving right along. So sorry to jump back to new projects, but that is a big one that has happened. Any questions on baseball before I move back? I'll take that as smiles and we'll move back. Projects and closeout, we're just about there for Florence. You remember that project way back when? We started with that as our first major construction project. We've pretty much got everything working the way it's supposed to. We're in the final throes of financial closeout, and I fully expect to have that contract and everything else fully closed out before the end of June, which is the end of our fiscal year. And we'll be able to wrap that one up and have a bow on it, and then it's back to normal as far as, but that was a really challenging project to do during COVID. It's taken longer than I would have liked to get it closed out. Some of the things where we had our major heating and cooling was an air source heat pump that didn't get delivered until after we took occupancy of it. So due to COVID delays, it came out. We've been working on it for a year and a half since it arrived. It does now seem to be working properly. So that's a big part of the reason we haven't closed it out. We wanted to make sure that one was working properly, and we're just going through the final checklist to make sure we've got all the right paperwork. We're checking through all the closeout on the finances of it, make sure everything's billed out, make sure everything's there, and we'll be able to write a final check and move on. So hopefully these other two, I will say, projects in closeout, to be honest, health professions and iTech are both in that phase as well, and they're moving along much faster than and have some real promise to be closed out, not this year, but next year, I think, despite all the much bigger contracts, but we're better at the process as well, I think, is part of it. We learned something along the way as well. So that's good. Question?
Well, I was just thinking that air source heat pump is exactly the right sort of system to use on the coast, because the weather tends to be pretty mild there, in
Yeah.
terms of temperature at least.
Yeah, it is. We installed one. It's the main heating source for iTech as well. Not only was it COVID, but one of the things as we're delving into this, the industry is just overwhelmed with demand. With the
Overwhelmed.
sustainability and carbon neutrality and the industry is having a very hard time keeping up with their production. So
Oh, getting the equipment, you mean?
just getting the equipment, yep.
I got you. Thank
You
you.
know, the manufacturers are backlogged. It was one of the last pieces of equipment to be installed on iTech as well. So that's we installed that one like the week before we moved in, and we've been working on it ever since. Um, so it's just one of those beasts in the industry right now that is in high demand, and we'll get there though. It's a great
Well,
piece.
and soon you'll be able to test whether it works as an air conditioner too, in Eugene.
Oh, of course it will. Of course it will. So, yeah, that's any other questions about design, construction, projects going on?
Tom, is this a good time for people to ask about any comments on the status report?
Well, that's the next
I have
one
this.
on the agenda.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, it's the next item. All right. Forget what I said.
So if nobody else has any questions, this would be a perfect time for that.
All right. My only note is that I need my magnifying glass, but otherwise it looks fine to me. And I do see that Terry has a hand up.
Yeah, I just got a couple questions, Tom. The first one is on building 32. I know that's basically substantially completed except for the artwork, the murals. Is that correct?
Yeah. We have some summer work to clean some things up, but
so what is going to be the cost for that artwork? And where is it funded from?
we're going to be what's showing as an over budget. We're fighting through that right now, but it's commitments. When we contract, we have to encumber funds that go with it. And we had a number of contracts like for surveyors and inspectors and things like that were not to exceed. As we're closing out these contracts, that'll go down there. So I don't have the exact number of the construction contract right now. That's one of the things we're working through with them. Part of it is we've had that one, the landscaper has been a challenge to work with.
He asked about the art contract.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
that
art
was
contract?
that was my question was the
sorry.
artwork is, I know, according it's going to be done sometime this summer. What is the cost for that? And where is that funding coming from for that? Has it been encumbered yet?
Yeah, that is not fully encumbered yet. I'm waiting on that contract. The contract is in the range of $110,000 for it. It will be coming out of, there's a line in here. It's landscape and pathways, public art, which we have $83,000 allocated. And we're also working with the foundation that has been raising money, as well as have some funds that I don't know the exact number, but it's in the range of close to half of that amount that we expect to be able to get out of the foundation of the contract.
Okay. So we're probably, I mean, we're already 268,000 in the hole on that project. It shows that we're over encumbered.
Yeah.
We have additional, I don't know if it's going to come out of that line item or it'll come out of the one for the landscaping and art. But I mean, I would have expected, though, at least the budget to have been monitored or showing that it's something to be careful, because we're over budget on it.
Yeah, it is. And that one is one where I have a grounds relocation next to building 32. And part of what happened there was due to contracting. A lot of the grounds relocation was under the Fortis contract. So it got billed through. So there's some adjusting of things that were going on now. And we're also closing out some of there's some like architect contracts that we're closing out that we have excess funds in. Believe it or not, architects didn't charge as much as they thought they might have to. It's either good budgeting or good management or something like that. So we're going through and closing out. I think it'll be very close. It may be a little bit higher.
Okay. So the next question was on building 33. Again, I think we're almost complete with that. Is that?
Yeah.
So it says the remaining budget allocation is 825,000. Is that accurate?
As far as what's not encumbered, I think by the time we get everything posted and get some of the final equipment in there and furnishings, we'll get probably at least half of that is where I'm projecting right
now. Encumbered already?
What?
Shouldn't it be encumbered already if you know
there's some work that we're gonna do to take care of some other things, buying some additional equipment that we don't have right now. So it's not been encumbered yet.
Okay. So we don't really know then how much we may have left over that would go to another project or.
Yeah, and it's a balance of working with the administration who gets, when do I have to cut off the people over in ITAC and say no more? And can they find other funding versus transferring that to another project? So ongoing discussion.
I'm sure that faculty can always come up with wonderful things to fill the space that you've provided them for.
Well, I didn't know whether if you have money from that pot that you can use it to offset the building 32 that's over budget, or I mean, is that what you do, or I mean, looking at the big picture, we're still within the budget, but just how do you shift those things around?
Great question. That is with Jennifer. Kara has been a great addition to the team here because she's been really able to help us understand the financial side of it and looking at it. And it's working with the president and then communicating out to the rest of the cabinet and the leadership about where those priorities are, getting back to the board with it. We've had several conversations with the board about making sure the priorities are appropriate. And again, part of that is, the fact that we still have 800,000 in there. I'd like to think that was a pretty powerful managing the cost there along the way. And anytime there's people think I have money, they seem to line up to spend it for some reason.
Okay. So my last question is real quick on the elevated platform retention remediation. I see in the middle, there's an outstanding encumbrance of 34,631 listed in red. But when you look at the percent encumbered and stuff, it doesn't show it at all. So what's that number?
That is one that we have the architect signed up for that, but we don't have any expenses on it yet.
But it has been encumbered?
Yes. So we just signed up, got the architect under contract when this was put together as of the 1st of April or when these numbers came in. But they haven't had a chance to bill us yet. So they'll get to me. Don't worry, they're trying. And that'll go up, but it's so that's where that particular one is. That help? Great. Anybody else?
It's great to have a very detailed report like this. And Terry, I really appreciate your asking these questions. They were ones that had not occurred to me, and I appreciate it. Other questions? Now's your chance. Thank you, Bill. This is great.
Yep. I see Bill Hirsch raise his hand.
Oh, Bill. Yes, the other Bill.
I have a question for Tom. Tom, I
Tom,
was
yes.
wondering,
I'm doing it, aren't I? Yeah. Go ahead.
Tom, I was wondering, would it be possible in the future to get your management report and the reports for this meeting a little earlier, not the day of?
Jennifer?
I told Tom that I would address this question if it came up because Tom prepared these several days ago, and I had some things come up in my schedule. I wanted to review them before they were sent out, and so that was my fault, and I apologize. And yeah, definitely, we will do that in the future. So sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it would be useful for me if the color contrasts on the labels, for example, were a little better.
Okay.
Pink on top of green. Some of us can't read them at all. I can, but it's hard. I mean, that's an editorial comment on the way it's laid out. It's not on the material in the report.
Yeah. Totally
Yeah.
understand that.
Thank you.
Those color things are always hard, but we'll work on that.
Thank you. Other questions, comments? Thank you, Jennifer, for your remark. Things do come up, and when they do, we're stuck with them. Okay, if we're finished with the budget updates, we're down to closing items. Future business. Report to the Lane Community College Board. This one may be mine. We owe the board a report in June. What we've done in past years is that we have, Tom and I have prepared a proposed chair's report. The indenture for this committee was that the chair would present a report, and I followed the rule that, which is not in the indenture, that the committee gets to review the report and help make sure it's accurate before we send it to the board. So we will do that. And so we're going to have to hold a meeting just for the purpose of reviewing the report. And I don't know the exact dates, and I bet Jennifer and Tom do when we need to be prepared for that review so that we get it to the board at the proper time. You can consider that a question if you know. And of course, we don't have to decide that today. It can be scheduled after they've had a chance to review. Typically, what has happened is that Tom has prepared the body of the report, and based on the very first letter that I wrote as a cover letter, I've prepared the cover letter for the report. Last time Tom wrote most of that too, and I just wrote one paragraph that he got stuck in. The committee seemed to be happy with it as prepared, and I'm hoping that will be the case this year as well.
I think
that's one item of new business. I have another one that's not on here, but let's stay with this one for a minute.
Just, I think what we've done is turned it into the board in June, and they've had it at their July meeting.
Okay.
Is where it's been. So that needs to be, we need to get things to the board by like June 21st, somewhere in that.
So we need to meet.
So.
We need to meet before that.
Yeah.
And enough time before that so that if the committee wants to make any changes in the report, it can be done before the board meeting.
So we'll work with Amy on that.
Yes.
And get something set up.
We do. I have a tentative date of June 9th, a Monday, June 9th. Would that be enough time to do that?
And that's really a question for Tom.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, I knew Amy was on top of it, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that works. So let's tentatively plan to meet on June 9th, solely for the purpose of reviewing the report that Tom and I prepared as the chair's report to the board.
And we'll make sure we get it to you before that date.
Oh, yeah, well before, yes. It'd be great to give you at least a week to look at it, because there'll be some detail in it, and I want to make sure that Terry has a chance to look for questions to ask. Sorry, I mean that for everyone. I'm in that sort of mood tonight. I'm not sure why. Well, I guess maybe I do. The other item that we need to consider is that my term in the on this committee will be over sometime next year. I don't know the exact date, but one of the things that the committee will need to consider at a future meeting, probably October, or maybe not until April of next year, is the election of officers, including a chair. So I simply note that as a thing for future action. Those who would like to serve in that capacity should get their lawn signs ready and prepare to go after voters. And that's simply an announcement. May I say, it has been a great pleasure for me to serve as the chair with such fabulous staff support for this meeting. These meetings, it's made it quite easy. We only had one big issue that I had to deal with early on, and that had to do exactly with what the role of the committee is. But that went very smoothly, in part because the staff did its job well, and I must have lucked out and did mine okay. So it worked well. Any questions from the committee for this meeting? And they could be on pretty much any topic that's within our purview. Okay. So now, do we have a plan for future meetings after, substantive meetings after the June 9th meeting? If so, we could announce those now. I assume the next meeting will be in October.
It should be in October. I don't have any dates set for that, but we can I'll have some dates to look at in the June meeting.
Great. Dates for the June meeting. Anything else that we need to talk about tonight, other than the fact that you get, it looks like you get a few minutes back from our meeting time. Thank you all so much. Thanks, Roger. Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Roger gave me the thumbs up. That's why I said that. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we are adjourned. Good night.
Good job, Phil. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.